So, Colossus was leaked for Marvel Rivals, and if you don't know, I am a let's not say big, I am a massive fan of Marvel, and I'm a big fan of Marvel Rivals. So today, I wanted to talk about something very interesting that's gonna go on, and we're gonna have to make these type of decisions. Granted, not us, the developers are going to have to, but let's go ahead and play a game. It's what I'm gonna call, we can't have them both. It just doesn't make sense to have both of these characters, and we're gonna start off real easy with Colossus. So Colossus is going to be basically our unstoppable force on the battlefield. He's probably gonna have a charge, he'll probably have a ground stump, he might even have a jump slam, and then he's probably gonna be able to add more armor to his skin, or just make himself a little bit more tanky depending on what damage he does, or maybe he even gets tankier if he accepts, like if he gets hit by projectiles in comparison to actual physical attacks, or the other way around. He's more weak against projectiles, and he actually gets more armor when he's hit with physical attacks, therefore making teams have to switch up their engagement with Colossus type. We can call him that. Now, here is the first one that we're probably not gonna get because we're getting Colossus. We are probably not gonna get Juggernaut. The reason is that we can't have them both. Now, here's why. In Marvel Comics, and as far as we know, Marvel Rivals is looking at comics directly and finding different skins, different ways to present things. They're going off of, they have comic panels, comic little passages inside of the bios. Like they're leaning heavy into the comic lore of these characters. Colossus becomes Juggernaut in one of the comic books. He gets the Gem of Sidorak and he adopts as the avatar of Sidorak, in other words, becoming Juggernaut, has the whole entire suit and everything. And that's where it gets fairly interesting because, like I said, we're not gonna be able to get them both. It doesn't make sense to have them both, and that's how we're gonna feel. So if you guys would like to see a Juggernaut as well, let me know down in the comment section below. This is all, at the end of the day, it's all conversational. We're not gonna make these decisions, but I think that it would be very misuse of assets to have Juggernaut and Colossus on the roster. I just don't think it makes sense, especially when you could just give him a legendary skin of the Gem of Sidorak and call it a day. Next up, we have Beast and Sabertooth. This is gonna be fairly interesting. we're no longer gonna be talking about leaked characters. We're talking about characters that more or less have the same abilities or same kits. And on top of that, Beast, Sabertooth-like, I'll throw Morbius in there as well. And yes, Morbin time would go crazy. If they were able to make him a vampire character and make him awesome, it would cause this ripple effect throughout the universe where we would all feel like we're in the in the time zone, in the Twilight Zone. I apologize. As far as characters are concerned, you have Beast, who is a more athletic version of a Sabertooth, if you want to look at him that way. Every time we've seen Beast, he's more or less doing cartwheels or turning himself into a cannonball, which you can add to the whole fastball special that happens to work with a Hulk and Colossus and things of that nature, and with Wolverine, of course. Also have him, Beast, turn into a ball. I think Beast would be better. Like, if you're gonna ask me personally, I would like Beast more than Sabertooth, because Sabertooth is too much already like Wolverine. So I would like a Vanguard, not a DPS, a Vanguard Beast that is able to use technology to make himself and support his team in different ways because of his genius. Like, have that compound, or have him provide some healing and different types of support. That would be cool. You would be able to find very interesting ways to have Beast work in the game. And you could do the same thing kind of with Morbius, and then on top of that, he has a vampire kit to him. Now, it would be cool if we're looking at, let's say, because Blade's already been leaked. If they're looking at Blade and they're like, how popular is Blade? Can we get a Morbius in there? Not really an asset flip, but using some of those vampire-esque assets to make it so he's a completely different character. Now, he would be more of a DPS instead of Hank McCoy or Beast being more of a tank. I think he would be an awesome Vanguard, but if you're gonna do Morbius as well, I would like to see what a vampire, and with the ability to fly too, I would give him the ability to fly. I would like to see how that looks in Marvel Rivals. That'd be extremely interesting. But Sabertooth, I wouldn't like Sabertooth. If we're gonna pick between those three, I'm going with Beast. Beast all day, every single day. I love the X-Men. But Sabertooth, too much like Wolverine. Morbius would probably not fit, because how many vampire characters do we really need at the end of the day? Next up, and this was gonna be controversial. This was gonna be controversial for a lot of people. Mandarin with his rings of power and Shang-Chi with the rings that we know from the MCU. And here's where it gets extremely interesting. If you want my personal opinion, and this is what the video is made for, and again, you guys engage in the comment section down below and let me know what you guys are thinking. I like Shang-Chi. I think that we need more martial art representation in a lot of video games, especially where there's a lot of martial arts characters. And I would like to see him duke it out against an Iron Fist, and just how they would be able to switch those kits. I think that would work. And I think in a perfect world, we could get them both. In a perfect world, there is a realm where we can get them both. But if they're leaning into more or less what MCU looks like and going off of the comics, Mandarin is a specific, is almost a very like solo, so like an ISO villain for Iron Man, if I'm not mistaken. So you can have him have the 5 rings of power, have them interchange. His skill set would be super varied. So it could be everything from ice beams to disintegration rays to like CC on the floor. Like, you can have a lot of fun with the 5 rings of power because they're so varied. And I think that for gameplay purposes would be much more interesting than Shang-Chi with his rings. But like I said, for a person that grew up with martial arts films from Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, etc., I would love to see Shang-Chi and Iron Fist duke it out. But personally, because I'm a fan of Mandarin, and I think that his dialogue and adding another villain to the game, I just think it tells me that would be a lot more interesting and we would enjoy it more, even though I would like to see the other two duke it out. But yeah, I don't think that we'll get them both, but if they're able to do so, by all means, I would love to get them both. But I would go Mandarin over Shang-Chi. And now lastly, because I wanna save some of these so we can do a second volume of these. And again, we cannot have both Archangel and Captain America Falcon mode. We can't have them both. We cannot have them both. Now, if we are looking at just the way that video game companies tend to do things, when a video game is popping and there's IP out there of shows, movies out there, they're gonna try to capitalize on what's currently going on in the world. It just makes sense, right? There's a bleed-in effect to everything. When you look at it from that perspective, I would love to see new Cap. Like, that would be awesome. Can you imagine like a DPS Captain America flying around, hitting people with just Sam, just straight up flying around, just throwing the shield, bonking people off the top of the head, bam, 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 and just like literally just chain. It's basically like free chaining, just bang, bang, bang against the whole team, and just flying around. And then have his kit be extremely interesting. You could have him have a dive, and then have him have like a pop up as well. It would be super interesting to see what they would be able to do because of his combination of the shield and the flying. He would be a very interesting Captain America in my personal view. But if we're going X-Men, and eventually I am imagining that there's gonna be a season that is very strictly to X-Men lore. And we're gonna talk about a flying character, Angel or Archangel, after he becomes the Apocalypse of Death, the Horseman of Apocalypse, known as Death, apologies. With his healing factor, with his bladed feathers, with his flight, with his speed, enhanced speed, strength, and all of that. Again, it's the same thing that's happening with Mandarin. I think personally that even though Captain America would fit what's going on in the new movie, would fit like Red Hulk, us getting a Red Hulk skin, same thing, like I'm expecting that, right? It just makes sense for us to have one, a legendary Red Hulk skin. Same thing with Grey Hulk as well, if we're gonna throw it in there. I think that where we can get a Captain America with wings and have him be a DPS, but I think it's much more interesting to have Archangel become a part of the roster and have him be evil Archangel and have him beef with, I'm gonna be honest, I have a great fascination with evil characters. I do not understand why. I just do. So when you get Horseman of Death, Archangel, and you have him interacting with the X-Men in a negative way, or you can have him like kind of like be a little dual personality and have him jump in and jump out, and be like, oh, I remember you guys, I apologize, and then have him revert back. But now I'm a horseman, and your deaths are imminent, whatever the case may be. You could don't mind me, I'm not writing this dialogue, but I think that, like I said, I think that would be a lot more interesting. But let me know what you guys think. That is the end of the video. Like I said, we can't have them both. We can't have both Juggernaut and Colossus. They're way too similar. We can't have both Beast, Sabertooth and Morbius. We can't have Mandarin and Shang-Chi. And finally, we cannot have both Falcon or Captain America, Sam, I can't remember, I'm thinking Sam Smith, the freaking artist. I'm thinking, I can't remember Sam's last name, but Captain America, the new Captain America, instead of the awesome Archangel, which to me would be my preference. I would love to get Archangel in the game. That would be absolutely amazing. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comment section below. Which characters are you sacrificing? Which characters are way too similar for the MCU for us to get both of them? For example, I'll give you guys another hint. Next time I'll talk about Better Ray Bill and Thor. We can't have them both, guys. We just can't have them both. But that is for another video. Thank you guys for watching. Links are down in the description below. It's been a complete pleasure. $1 a day keeps the line low rate. Until next time, I'm your host, Mike Fury. Mike, off.